Bosh, we're back live. How we doing? It's myself and Lee, international break, and we're back. And to be fair, I've actually genuinely had a nice break. I've been in Germany with the brother-in-law. Me and Mark went and spent a few days with some of Mark's friends, and do you know what? It was class, mate. I can't lie. It was beautiful. Germany is such a good place.
Whereabouts in Germany did you go?
Well, we went to a couple of places. We went to Frankfurt, and we went to a place called Kassel, which is in between Frankfurt towards Mainz, where old Jurgen Klopp used to manage.
Yeah.
They live over there, and they've been over there for a long time. And Mark's 45 now. These lads are in their 50s. And when they've known each other nearly 40 years. They were, you get, I don't know if they still do it. You get like the foreign exchange students come over for language school and all that.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Well, they stayed with Mark's mum and dad, right? When they were like 13, 14. They're 53 now, so it's like 40 years ago. And we went over and stayed with them. And, oh, mate, honestly, unbelievable people. Like, do you know what? They would not let me and Mark spend a penny, mate, right? I went for 4 days. I think we both spent about 50 quid each. That was it. In 4 days. They literally, they run hospitality events, right? So they know how to party. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to their bars and they're opening up the bar. It's all there. So they're just chucking drinks at us. Paid for all of our food. Me and Mark kept trying to go to the bar. That no, don't serve these two. I'll get their drinks. Like, oh mate, unbelievable people, like unbelievable. And yeah, we had a great time, mate. So I've had a nice international break. And do you know what, mate? I have literally scheduled all my content, put it all out over the weekend, so I didn't have to do and it was so nice, Judge, just to sit and relax and not worry about YouTube. I love what I do, and I know you do, but sometimes it is nice to have a break and have nothing, just enjoy this outside of it. I have no outside noise. There's loads of stuff going on social media. I have no idea about any of it. Loads of internationals. I haven't watched England. I haven't watched Marino's hat-trick. I haven't watched anything. Literally, zilch. And I've liked it, Lee. I can't lie to you, bro. I've enjoyed it. It's been a nice break, mate.
Listen, I'm with you on that. Like every international break, like for me, I have the weekend off. You know what I mean? Don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like next weekend, it all starts again, and then the weekend after, and the weekend after that, and you're either travelling to games or whatever. So for me, when that comes along, I'm the same. I just chill out. Just do something, book saying, I had a game of football at weekend, first game back friendly. But like I'll do that, catch up with some friends or whatever, and just have a nice weekend where I went out for a meal Saturday night, didn't even know England. Forgot that they were playing. It was only then I see a message that Declan Rice has scored. I haven't seen his goal. I haven't seen anything of England. I did catch Marino's hat-trick on TV. Very, very good hat-trick as well, like, and that was it, like, So, a good weekend. And we were just saying before, we haven't got really a lot to talk about this international break. And then what happens, you go to bed, and then this is the great thing, like, what we do. There's always something going on, Dan. There'll always be something. Like, what do you mean you don't like my polo top? Like, what's going on, like? How dare you, like, So it's probably because I don't wear polo shirts very often, like, you know what I mean? Maybe like, wear the warm-up tops and all that, like. Yeah. Listen, one before we start, I've got to say big thank you to everybody, and I've had untold messages, like, about my daughter Emily, like, you know what I mean? People wishing her well and everything like that. So a little update is that she didn't have a mini stroke. She was she had all the tests and all that, like, and that she was cleared of that, like, you know what I mean? So unbelievably, the conclusion that they've come to, it was like a massive migraine, a brutal migraine. That's what they put it down to, like, you know what I mean? But she was in hospital.
They are the worst, though. They are horrible, though.
Yeah, and listen, so thank you for everybody that messaged me and all that. Like, I haven't been able to get back to everybody on it. It's just been crazy, like, But like Emily was appreciative of all the messages as well, and obviously it was a big worry for me, like, for her being so young. But at the end of the day, she's doing well. She's back on the mend, and or she's back at work now, like, So. So I just want to say thank you to everybody on those messages, and I'll tell you, much appreciated.
Yeah, no, it has to be said. And the minute that you told me, I was well happy because that is always worrying whenever that happens to anyone, but that young as well. To hear the word stroke at 19 and 20, and you know, oh Jesus, that's not what you want to be hearing. So I'm glad she's all good. Migraines are absolute killer. So fair play that they've sorted her out as well. And big up to the NHS every time. But I'm glad she's all right, Lee. That's the main thing, isn't it? But
Yeah.
look, I've got to be honest. I haven't seen the Marino hat trick until just now. Was he playing in midfield or up front? Let's start there because I have no idea. What was he actually playing in midfield? Attacking midfield,
I
striker?
think he's attacking midfield. I think like unbelievably started both games for Spain, like you know. So yeah, and you know, put him in a position. There was a goal in there. You know, I to be honest, I haven't seen too much of it. Like you know, what I mean, I didn't see none of the games. I didn't even watch the games yesterday. But one of the finish was a lovely bit of football, an unbelievable finish. They knocked it across the box, and he can finish the boy. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
definitely
there's no
can.
two ways about
Yeah,
that. He's a very,
yeah.
very good finisher. So it's another weapon to our Bo and Mikel and everything like that. He'll end up playing left back or centre half in the next week or so. You know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see, like you know. But
I saw the goals, and I thought all three of them were good finishes, obviously. But well, he couldn't do that at bloody Anfield though for us, could he? Like, you
well,
know
he's
what
got
I
to have a
mean?
chance. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to get to certain areas of the pitch where you can have a shot. Yeah, so it just shows you. Zubimendi, I think, had a good game. Someone was saying
Yeah,
I was reading. So
apparently he got a standing ovation when he went off. Apparently,
yeah,
Zubimendi.
well,
And,
listen, he's not had a bad game for us, to be fair. You know,
no,
but
that's a
you
good
know,
player.
yeah, I would like to see that. Even Martinelli, I don't know if you've seen that one that someone put on Twitter and taking on players and beating players, like you know what I mean.
This is what happens when they get away from Arteta, mate. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is all good stuff. And the thing is, like the likes of Eze and Madueke and all that, like ain't doing anything because like Tuchel's just like Arteta, isn't he? Like you know what I mean? So
Yeah, Eze and Noni Madueke, they said, they looked all right. They looked all right, but did England look all right when I didn't watch? You know, Rice apparently scored a good goal, but I'm sick and tired of watching Tuchel for England. Oh my god,
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched the game. Not you know, what I mean, like not being horrible, but England versus Andorra, like you know what I mean. I don't really float.
Well, we're playing tonight as well, aren't we?
Yes, we're playing Serbia tonight. I don't know what time that is.
I'm doing a show at 9, and I couldn't give a damn if I'm honest. I planned it for 9 o'clock tonight. And I thought, we're England playing. Oh yeah, well, I think people will probably
7:45 they're playing.
There we go. So they can have the second half. Have the second half on in the background while they watch my channel, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I think it's more entertaining then, if I'll be really honest. You know, I'm not
can't watch it, mate. I can't watch it. It's just so boring, bruv.
You know, I don't know if anybody else does this, right? This is what I done yesterday, right? There was, I see all the games are finished. Israel 4, Italy 5, right? So I ain't worried about the score. I click on that. Did Calafiori play? And did he stay on or didn't play? Fantastic news, like, you know what I mean? I then clicked on Sweden. Oh, Gyökeres done the full 90 minutes, didn't come off, like, happy with that, like. That's all I do, making sure that those players
injuries
have got through the game or didn't come on or come off, like, you know what I mean? So
what about Odegaard? Did he play?
I think he played. They had a friendly over the weekend, so he didn't play, and they play tomorrow. Wait for it. It's a fantastic game to look forward to. Like you know, I think it's today they play. They play today as well. It's the last games today, isn't it? Like so, they had a friendly in the week. He had half a game. Norway versus Moldova. That is like you know what I mean. Like you know, get yourselves around the TV there at quarter to 8 for that one. Like you know what I mean? Because
I hate it, brother. I can't stand it.
If you're struggling to sleep by 8 o'clock, I imagine you could be. You know what I mean? There you go.
Yeah,
right.
cure for insomnia, mate. That's what I call it. Cure for insomnia. Look, it's not for me. It's not for me. According to the lads who watched Sweden last night, Gyökeres was stinking out the gaff again. Apparently, he was awful. But so was Sweden. The whole of Sweden were absolutely shambolic. apparently. So yeah. Anyway, as for the international break, I can't give two hoots about it, mate. I'm really not bothered at all by it. It just bores the pants off me. And this one particularly, you're 3 games in, the window's just shut, and you've got to play bloody internationals again. You know, it's just sick of it. It's just awful, absolutely awful. But that's for me. I will say though about Marino very quickly. What is he like? Because I see him in front of goal, and I think he's got to be a striker because his finishing's good. His link up plays well. He's got strength and physical attributes. I don't think he's an attacking midfielder or a central midfielder or a defensive midfielder. I think most of his attributes are going forward, aren't they? I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are about his position, Lee. What he is. I'm confused about his actual where he's best. You know.
Well, he's best at finishing. Actually, he's very, very, really up there. I think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but I if you're going to be really honest about it, I don't think the Premier League suits him. I think that he's a little bit too one-paced. Now, probably in Spain, that's a good thing. International football, like, is a little bit like that. You know what I mean? But like in the Premier League, you know, it's that little bit quicker, and I think that he's shown he might adapt to it. I don't know, like, but at this moment in time, I don't see it. I think he's a good player, and he done well for us last season. I think. Excuse me. The back end of last season, I thought he improved. You know what I mean? Like playing in that centre forward role, or dare I say it, false 9. And that may be the position for him in the future, like, you know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see. You know, a lot of people are on about Gyökeres at the moment, like, you know. I don't like this thing, like, you know what I mean? Everybody's saying he's going to be a flop and all that, like everybody wanting him to be a flop. You know what I mean? Like he's had 3 games, for Christ's sake. Like, do you know what I mean? I think those 2 games in Sweden now have done him the world of good, because that's put more minutes into his legs. And I now look at him from now on. I think that he's had 3 games for us, 2 games for Sweden. He's had his pre-season now, like, you know what I mean? Like he should be up and running now, and I expect to see him not as wooden as he has been. And the reason that is because he's not been sharp enough, Dan. You've got to be sharp on football as a forward. You know what I mean? Like sharpness comes from games and minutes and all that, like, you know, and he hasn't had a pre-season. And someone said to me, you know, what would you give a window? And I said 9 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, why not 10 out of 10? I said 9 out of 10 because I think that Gyökeres should have come in 2 weeks earlier than what he did. That's the only criticism I've got of the window. The only criticism I've got of it, he should have come in 2 weeks earlier.
If you remember the start of the window, that was what everyone was screaming about. I remember me, you, Troops. I remember a few other people saying, "Where is the striker?" And at the time, we didn't know it was going to be Gyökeres. We had no idea what we were doing. I've given my rating. I've not given it as high a rating as yourself, because I still think that the player sales were pretty poor, and I think that we are a left winger short. However, I do think that there's like a lot that went right with the window, and Andre Berta, like, take your hat off, son, because that is an unbelievable first window, that's for sure. Look, I ain't watched much of Gyökeres' performance against I ain't watched anyone internationally. I ain't seen what Rice or Reza or Madueke's been up to for England. I saw the goals from Marino, which looked good, but I ain't seen anything of Erdegaard, Gyökeres. I ain't seen anyone, to be fair, and on purpose. I'm not interested. I just want him not to be injured. But Marino, I'll be honest. If Gyökeres got injured now, I'd play Marino up front.
Martinelli?
Instead of Martinelli, you won't like this. Chat might not like this. I'd play him ahead of Havertz. I think when he was up front for us, I thought he offered us more than. He's a better finisher than Havertz, that's for sure.
Yes,
I agree. I'll play the better finisher up front. You know, it's like me saying to you, who would you play at the back? Probably him. What, the one who can't defend or the one that can? You pick the one that can defend. Up front, I want the one who's going to score, not the one who's going to miss from a yard with his eyes closed, like Havertz does. So I want Marino as a backup, and that's weirdly because he was bought as the midfielder. We think that he's versatile. I'll give him that. Like, if people say he's a defensive midfielder, he is definitely more defensive than attacking when it comes to his Sociedad days, from what I understand. But I think at Arsenal, he's been better going forward than he has, like, Do you know what I mean? Like, I think
100%.
Mourinho
He's played better for us playing in that centre forward role than what he did when he played in midfield. Actually, when he went back into midfield, because he got confidence in that role, he got better. Like, you know what I mean? So, at this moment in time, Havertz is not there. So for me, yeah, you know what I mean. Like, if that's the way you want to play, Mourinho comes into that. Like, you know. But it's an option. This is what you need, Dan. You need options. You know what I mean? Like, and people, you know, like we're one injury away from Mourinho up front again. Like, you know what I mean? It ain't the end of the world if he does come in my opinion.
Well, if he scores, yeah. You know, I thought he was brilliant against Real Madrid, and you know, against PSG, I know he weren't unbelievable, but he scored in the Premier League games. If people remember, I think he scored against Forest, against Brentford. I think he scored. He definitely got 2 against Leicester away when we first put him up there. Yeah, I think he got 9 goals, Mourinho. Well, Havertz got 14 across the whole season. He got 9, and he was only playing there for about 8 games up top. Like, I think he did well personally up top. I'm not sure I like him in midfield. However, I think he's done all right there, Mourinho. And I look at the signing, I still think it's a bit odd, but at the same time, it was only a £30 million player. It weren't like we spent 80 million on this lad. Do you know what I mean? So he's come in and he's been a squad player, and I think he's kind of done his job really, Lee. I can't really not, you know.
I'm with you on that, and you need players like that. You know what I mean? You need players that squad players that can play in a couple of different positions and all that. I think that, you know, we all want the superstar players and all that, but you know, you need all those players as well, like, you know. So for me, I think that, listen, I think that, you know, that if, how can you say it, like the transfer window, I thought was very, very good. There were a couple of signings that I think if we'd have got them in, if we'd have got Gyökeres in at the first one, I think Madueke would have been a better fit for us, if you know what I mean. I think everybody went a little bit mad, me included, because we all thought that that's going to cost us somewhere along the line. It didn't, to be fair. It didn't. Like, you know, Eze come in after him, like, you know, so you have to say fair play. And listen, I love it when I hold my hands up, got it wrong. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be a disaster of a window at one stage, and it wasn't. And you know, I look back to the program notes from Josh Kroenke saying that we will heavily invest this season. You know, and he, true to his words, put it in a program and he done it. He backed it, like, you know what I mean? So so from that point of view, you can't really disagree or argue with it, like, you know. So
well, that problem is with that, Judge, is it puts a lot of pressure on a manager now, because he's got what he wanted. He got heavily investment. He got a squad now that can compete in all 4 fronts. That doesn't mean he has to win the Champions League. It doesn't mean he has to win the Premier League. Not in my opinion. It means he has to win a trophy, and he has to compete to a lot game week 38. I'm not having this, you know, well, we got Saka's injured already, you see. He's not going to win anything now. None of this crap anymore. Like, Saliba's down. Oh, nothing for Arsenal this year. Wait till next year. I'm not having that anymore. Like, if these players get injured, you know, Saka, we've got Madueke, we've got Max Dowman, we've got Ethan. Who's next? Oh, Saliba's gone down. Right, well, we've got Mosquera. Oh, we've got Nkapaye. Who do you want? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't have any more excuses, Lee, about injuries this season, bruv.
No, listen, you know, he's got the squad to back it up. But, you know, listen, injuries are injuries. But, and you've got squad players to back it up. But if you're going to lose Saka for 1 or 2 games, that's fine. But if you're going to lose Saka for 5 months or 3 months here, and you're going to lose Rice for a month, it's the one, you know, it's the key injuries. You know what I mean? Like the spine of the team you can't have. Now, I think at the end of the day, what you know, like, let's be honest, if Saliba's out for 1 or 2 weeks, it's not a problem. It can be remedied and can be sorted out for 1 or 2. But over 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, it's gonna show. So I think from our point of view, you still need that little bit of luck that the injuries are not the key ones. I look at Liverpool, left themselves very, very short with Van Dijk. If Van Dijk gets injured, you know, Gomez replaces him. Like, you know, the drop off from that is a massive drop off. That's like Saliba holding sort of things. You know what I mean? Now they do it for 1 game, 2 games, but if he was out for a month, 2 months, they're in trouble. So I think that, like we need to keep Saliba fit. But what's good about it is that, over the last year, 2 years, probably even 3 years that Saliba's playing, every time Saliba gets a knock, we're panicking. Not so much now. You know what I mean? Like in fact, now I don't know how you feel. Even if he is fit for Saturday, I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, give him an extra few days to recover for maybe Bilbao or even like Man City. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not stressed by that. So
I think what you're getting at is if Saka goes down for like 3 months like he did last year, we're panicking. If Saliba went down for 3 months, we're panicking. Now we're not. But Liverpool, if they lost Salah for 3 months and Van Dijk for 3 months, I don't think they can replace him. I think they can bring players in, but they ain't nowhere near the level. Like, you have to bring Chiesa in for Salah, or maybe Szoboszlai goes over there. And then at the back, they're bringing in the young kid, Leone, or what's his name? Joe Gomez.
Yeah.
That ain't good enough. Do you know what I mean? So I'm with you. Those two players are key this season for Liverpool. If they lose either of those two, I think Liverpool drop points. Like when Rodri went out for Man City, it was a massive loss. I think that would be the same if Liverpool lost Salah or Van Dijk. Personally, I think with Arsenal, I think we can cover pretty much every position now. Like if we was, I mean, obviously they drop anyone who loses their first, someone from their first 11, yeah, it's a drop off. But with Arsenal, I think it's less of a drop off than most of the other teams in the league now.
Yeah, listen, no one's saying that Gomez or gonna. I'm just saying it from experience and whatever. 1 or 2 games, they'll come in and do a good job. I'm talking over a period of 5 to 10 games. That's when you miss your better players. You know what I mean? Like at the moment, Saka's not being missed. 1 game, 2 games. You know what I mean? Like after 5, 6, 7 games, you'll be going, oh well, how long's it? We need Saka back. You know what I mean? Or we need that. That's the difference. That in said, last season we missed him from day one because there was no one really to replace him. Like Odegaard got injured around about this time last season, wasn't it? Like for Norway, we had nothing to back it up, nothing. So realistically, I think if you be really honest about it with Odegaard, I think he was rushed back last season. Probably wasn't as fit as what he should have been like. But now if that happens, you've got all right, okay. We've got someone into place who's as good, if blah blah blah. And then what you're saying to Odegaard is, well, all right, you're not. What do you feel? And the ankle feels still a little bit stiff. All right, another week off or whatever. There was a couple of pictures again they've surfaced this week, haven't they? He's had a new haircut and all that, and but the transfer.
I hate that as well, by the way.
What's that?
Oh, some of the comment like, "Oh, he's had a new haircut. That means he's going to be a new man." Like the geezer's gone to the barbers. What are we talking about here? Like,
I will say this that if it has the same effect as it has on Alcaraz, then that's fantastic because Alcaraz had his haircut. My God, he performed even better than what he does at tennis. But that's another story. But what I'm saying is the transformation of him in his face wise is incredible. He looks a lot gaunter than what he'd done. And that comes with fitness. I know, I just think at the end of the day, Roy Keane said something the other week, which was very interesting that I don't know if you see this or heard about it. He got very, very much into his fitness and everything like that and lost about a stone in weight. And he felt that when he was playing, he was getting bashed off the ball a little bit, like, you know what I mean?
Really?
So he said, like, he stopped the diet that he was on and went back to his normal thing and put on the weight, and he felt a lot better for it. I don't know if that's happened with Odegaard, you know what I mean? Like, that he's...
Something's happened with him. He ain't nowhere near the level. Like, I see a clip the other day of him, and I see goals from Martinelli. I looked here and I thought, where are these players gone then? Because he ain't playing like that now. And Martinelli, you just said he was running rings around players Brazil. I didn't see it. Why don't he do that for us then? Like against Liverpool, he looked bloody awful going running with the ball. It's got to be something to do with the manager's micromanagement and what they're being told. because they're not allowed to free express themselves, Lee, are they? They're not allowed to go and take men on or go and take your man on. We saw when Eze come on, he's starting to do his own thing. Max Damon, Ethan, they haven't had this drilled in them as much yet. They're going and doing all their stuff. Like, what? Why is it Martinelli can't do what Eze is doing on the ball? Why can't, Ethan Nwaneri seems and Max Dowman seem to be doing a lot more than the likes of Odegaard on the ball? Well, surely that's been ingrained into them longer. Like Martinelli, no, I know the kids are doing that. That's because they're new. I know that I've got to stay on this ball and I've got to pass it backwards, not go forward. I don't get it.
I sometimes I think that I think if you look at that game when we went 1-0 down, it was all hands to the pump, and there was a little bit more of freedom in the side. You know what I mean? But I think that listen, the higher you go up, you're set to play in game to a game plan. That's as simple as that. Like you're told to play this way, keep the ball here, do this, do that. And play within a model of what the manager wants. And somewhere along the line, players are allowed to give them that little bit of freedom, but not all of them. You know what I mean? And I think that Saka is allowed to have that freedom, but I don't see anybody else. I think Gyökeres may be able to do what he wants to do. But this is the thing what Arteta's got to do now. He's got to get the best out of those front players, and he's got to do it very, very quickly, and within the structure of what he wants. Now, I think that the structure at the moment is possession based, but keep the ball, keep the ball, keep the ball. The philosophy to that, Dan, is that if we don't lose it, they can't score. That's what he's saying. Like, but at the end of the day, you've also got to be able to look to score yourself, and also you've got to take risks if you're going to score goals. To score a goal, not all the time, but you've got to take that risk pass. Like, you might have to beat a player like that. Now, to beat a player, what can happen if you beat a player? He can beat you. You know what I mean? He can take the ball off you. You know what I mean? Like, he's a right back in the Premier League for a reason, or he's a left back in the he's not being picked because he ain't got no one else to pick. They're there because they're good defenders. So when you have that one-on-one, you know what I mean? Like, yes, you expect your man, you expect Martinelli or you expect Saka to beat him. They're not going to beat him every single time. You know what I mean? Like, So you're going to lose the ball at times. So what I think is installed in them, like, if you can't beat the man, don't make sure you don't lose it. So that puts doubts in your head a little bit, like, you know what I mean? Like, so, all right, I'm taking on the man now. So-and-so's inside of me. I'll play it safe, right? He looks at it and then he plays it to safe as well, like, What you need is someone to make those risky passes. Now, Odegaard's probably been given that opportunity, but I think you need more than Odegaard. You need your left back winger to do it. And I think you need 4 or 5, you know what I mean, to do it, like, So that's the problem that he's got at this moment in time, and he's got to solve it. Look at it. It wasn't great against Leeds until we opened them up. Like, but listen, when people say that, that's going to happen, Dan. Teams are going to come in and dig. We've got, and it was always the same, even in Arsene Wenger when we was at our very, very best. If we didn't break the team down in the first 15, 20 minutes, it was going to be a tough afternoon for us. 7 times out of 10, Arsenal got that early goal, didn't we? And we went on and beat teams quite comfortably. But that first 15 minutes could have been tough. So you have to get that early goal, and then that opens teams up. They have to come out. But I actually see teams now, Dan, more so now, don't do nothing till they go 2-0 down. You know what I mean? Like, it might be 10 minutes from the end, and they're 2-0 down, and then, like, it ends up 2-1, and you think, wow, like, if they'd have gone for it a little bit earlier, they could have maybe got something against us. But so that these teams are afraid to open up even, and I get that, you know what I mean? Like, they're still happy to maybe nick something or whatever, like, So the game's changed a little bit, but with that, that's where he's got to open that team up. And I'm having a conversation. I think the way we play this possession-based football and the way we play will suit us more in Europe. I think that's why we done well in Europe last season and didn't do so well in the league, because there's a little bit more emphasis on defending. And, like, for instance, when we go to Bilbao on Tuesday night, week today, if you get a draw from that game, Dan, it ain't a bad draw. You take that,
No.
you know what I mean? Like, people accept that. Like, people are going, oh, well, you're doing this at Anfield. You're not. No, it's the context of what the competition is. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't got to win that league to win the league. You know what I mean? Like, to win the Champions League. It's about just getting through. So
you want to get into the top 8 of the Champions League.
So that's like you say, like, we'll go to Bilbao, get a draw there, win your own games. It's virtually, you know what I mean, like one of the. You
want to win them all, but if you're going their way, it's not the end of the world if you're going to be
set up not to lose, and that ain't a bad thing. Like, you know what I mean. If you go to Milan and draw 0-0, who gives us monkeys if you're through? You know what I mean. Like a 0-0 in Bilbao, you beat Bruges and then win all your own games, you're through.
It's fine though, Judge, setting up like that, but you can't lose that like that.
No, you can't lose.
You can't lose like we did at Anfield. You can't.
No, you can't lose at games like that. No. But it ain't the end of the world if you
drop points.
If you drop points, you know what I mean, because of the context of it. In the league, it's a little bit different. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like going to Bilbao, for instance, it's a tough game. So is going away to Newcastle, but you've got to have a different approach when you go to Newcastle than what you have Bilbao. That's what I'm saying.
No,
so the game's changed a little bit like that, and that's where I think Arteta's got to find his way to get things done now. Like, you know what I mean? So, and that's not going to be easy, Dan. It's not going to be easy for him to do. But you've got, how can I say it now? You've got Gyökeres, you've got Eze, you've got Madueke now. Where do you say his name?
Madueke.
Madueke, right? Madueke. I can't get my head around that one, right? You've got all these attacking options now, like, you know what I mean? Last year, you looked on the bench, he had 4 kids on there that were never going to come on, Dan. He's got options now, like, you know what I mean? So you've got to find a way. Mikel Arteta, and I know all the culties and all that, like, will be going, well, like, you know what I mean? Like, he has got to find a way. There's no excuses for him no more, like, you know what I mean? So he has to get his, he's got to get that right. He's got the players to do it, and I'm pretty sure that he can. Great point, Lando makes there. He's got to make his substitutions earlier and all that. Like, that's something that he's got to have. He hasn't had all these options before, Dan. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, he's playing the game and 70 minutes, you put Trossard on. That was his only real option last season. That, do you know what I mean? Now he's got all these options, so he's going to have to be more inventive with his substitutions. Everything about him has got to be a little bit different now, like, you know. And yes, the pressure on the manager, pressure on him. But I'll tell you what, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Mikel knows that as well. To bring on pressure, he's done well to get that pressure, like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter where you are. When you take over a team in 8th, is there any pressure to no, it's just about winning games, getting there. Then eventually you're in that top 4. It's, you know, listen, 4 or 5 years ago, we'd say, oh, yeah, well, you know, yeah, what's the aim? Top 4. Well, once you get to top 4, I'm sorry, that it changes, doesn't it? You've got to keep progressing, like, you know what I mean, like, and unfortunately for him and us to a certain degree, seconds, you've got to get. It ain't good enough no more. You know what I mean? Like, I think the first time that, you know, we got second, we said, oh yeah, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, but now
the first time we got second, we thought we were going to get 4th. But when you got second 3 years in a row, you can't keep getting second.
No, exactly. Now,
or if you get seconds, you're winning a cup alongside it.
So it changes a little bit, like, yeah, exactly that. It does. It changes a little bit now for us, and we've got to make sure that we find our way to get over the line. And I don't care whether you're a Mikel in or an out or whatever. That is the fact of the matter now. And you know, let's just hope he does it, because if he doesn't do it, I don't see where we go from there other than change it, because You've got all different players coming in now. You know what I mean?
We all know what happens if we don't win something. I think we all know what's got to happen. Let's be honest. But look, let's move to the breaking news today.
Yeah, he's in Nottingham,
which is mad, really, considering we've got them on Saturday. But this overnight broke that Nuno has departed his position as Nottingham Forest head coach. They are set to confirm the 51-year-old Portuguese relieved of duties, which was not his decision. So basically, he's gone and been sacked after almost 2 years in charge, guiding the club to Europe, which I think is a madness, if I'm honest, because Forest were going down not long ago. Forest were down not long ago. And then what we see is the new man who's going to be in charge at the weekend is Mr. Ange Postecoglou, who we all know quite a lot about. Ange Postecoglou is to be confirmed as the Nottingham Forest head coach imminently after Nuno's departure. The 60-year-old Australian will lead Forest for Saturday's trip to Arsenal, joined by a number of staff he worked with at Spurs. Now, I don't know what people's thoughts are about this because, you know, we all know what Ange and Nuno were about. They're very different in terms of managers. Nuno sets up with a bit more of a low block and counter-attacks. Ange Postecoglou missed the high line and goes all out attack. New manager bounce sometimes is not a good thing, but they look like a very unsettled club. He fell out with Edu. Marinakis said that he had to go. Marinakis very, very close with Ange Postecoglou. And he is now the new manager of Forest. I think it's incredibly harsh on Nuno, who's had 3 games after qualifying them for the Europa League, which is just unheard of as far as Nottingham Forest have been concerned over the last 30 years or so. And I understand ambition from Marinakis, but I also feel like it's kind of crazy, judges. What does this do for us at the weekend now?
Well, it makes it more of an intriguing game, doesn't it? Like, you know what I mean? For obvious reasons, you know what I mean? Listen, at the end of the day, who's the better manager out of the two? Like, you know what I mean? I think probably like you'd say Postecoglou's done a better job as manager in Tottenham, but you know, I don't see many people doing a better job than Nuno. What he's done at Forest, he's been unbelievable. And to lose your job over it is unreal. But it's personalities, and you know, this guy's got. Listen, writing was on the wall when he comes out shouting and screaming on the pitch to a manager, like, you know what I mean? Like any manager would probably think, well, enough's enough. I'm not having that, like, you know. Now, Ange has, you know, got a relationship before with him, so that, you know, they're probably going to get on and listen, I think he'll do a good job there. I think that, you know, if he does what he done at Tottenham last season, where he changed his philosophy a little bit, like, you know, he could be a very, very good manager. So listen, if he comes here and he's got 4 days or whatever to set up a 2-1-8, you know what I mean, like formation, you know what I mean, like, good luck to him. Hopefully we can pick him off, you know what I mean. But it'd be ironic that if he comes to like the old Spurs fans to go like, oh, he always wins his first game, you know what I mean, mate. I've had that text come through today, like, right? So from one of my Spurs mates and all that, like. But it'd be interesting if he was to get something against Arsenal when he never got anything against us for Tottenham, you know what I mean, like. Apart from a draw, remember he got a draw in the first game that he played against us there, so that's why I think that they're digging that, like, you know. But listen, this puts pressure on us a little bit, like, if I ain't gonna lie, you know what I mean, because the new manager's come in, like, he's already at the stadium, so he's there. He's done and dusted. So I think at the end of it now. You know, I mean, with Forest, I think Forest. I don't know about you, but I quite like Forest because of what they've done. But over this sort of last 6 months, I'm sort of going, well, I'm not so sure if I like them now with all what's going on. Like, and I've got nothing against Ange, only other than that he's managed Spurs. You know what I mean? Like, won him a trophy, but it does seem like, you know, you've got a manager in there. You've had one of the best seasons that you've ever had for a very, very long while. Why rock the boat? But they have done, and it'd be interesting to see how it goes. I think when you look at it, Dan, fantastic result for West Ham winning there 3-0, but obviously there was problems behind the scenes there. That's why, like that happened. So it's going to be a difficult game for us.
Has it made you more or less confident, do you think, at the weekend?
Doesn't change for me.
Okay.
Doesn't change for me. Arsenal are a better team than Forest. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Arsenal at home might be a little bit different. We was away from home. We're at home. I expect us to run all over Nottingham Forest. If I'll be honest, whether we will or not is another thing. But that's what I expect. I'll tell you this now, Dan. I expect 6 points from our next 2 home games.
Yeah.
And that's Man City. I don't care. They've got no excuses. You play for draws away from home. You win your home games. You know what I mean? Like, it's as simple as that. Like, you know what I mean? So you go there now and you win those 2 home games. No excuses. Because if you're going to drop points away from home with the tactics that you're playing, you cannot afford to do it at home. And the reason we've lost the league over the last couple of seasons is our home form. Then. So I want to see that improve. I want to see us go, not be dropping points against Nottingham Forest, not dropping points against West Ham and people like that. I want to see exactly what I see against Leeds, being teams run over. Manchester City, different scenario, of course, but at the end of the day, I want to see us get over the line like Liverpool got over the line against us.
Yeah.
And the reason that people say that Liverpool got over the line against us because they was at home. And found a way because they're a good side. So I expect us to do exactly the same. But against Nottingham Forest, I expect this to be a comfortable afternoon's work. It won't be, but that's what I expect. And I want us to be in a good position going into Bilbao. As I say, I think we can be a little bit more defensive and make. I've got no problem like if he plays Marino. And that 3 in midfield at Bilbao, where I had a problem with it against Liverpool, like, you know what I mean? So that because it's a different competition for me, like, you know. So listen, I think it's going to be a difficult couple of weeks for us. I'm sorry, Dan, we're going to be nervy. We're going to be nervy, like, you know what I mean? And the one thing that will stop us being nervy is if the team come out and chests out and produce a magnificent performance. I'll say this now. I don't want to see what I'm seeing from Odegaard over the last few weeks. I want to see him back to his best now. No excuses. I want to see that Gyökeres looking more of a dangerous player. No excuses. I want to see Eze in the team doing what he's been doing for Crystal Palace. No excuses. I want to see our defence defending and not giving away silly goals at home, which we've done in the past. You know what I mean? Like, just things like that. I don't want to see Raya giving away the ball to forwards in his own box. Just little things like that. I think that we need to be at our better. We want to see little changes in our play that make me more confident that we're going to go on and win games.
I agree. And I don't think we should be looking at this game now going, oh, my God, this is nightmare. Because it's not. Like, this is Ange Postecoglou. And I'm not saying he's a shocking manager because he won a trophy at Spurs. But his playing style is so predictable. We should be able to get in behind this team. They play a high line. We got players with pace. Madueke, Ethan, Eze, Martinelli, whoever plays, they've got pace. All of those players can run. So for me, when I look at how we win this game, I think it's become easier to win this game now. They are unsettled. They've got a new manager, new playing style, completely shifts. I think this is easier to win the game now. I don't think there's any excuses. Against Nuno, you can say it's a difficult one. You can get Nuno'd, as they call it, right? Because you know how they play. They set up, shot, and they can counter you and they can win games like that. But Forest are off the back of losing 3-0 to West Ham, Lee. Don't forget that. They've lost 3-0 to West Ham. They've just lost their manager, and they're just even more unsettled. They've got a player who's now coming in, and he's not just taking them off from where they left off. He's completely changing the way they've been playing for the last 18 months. So this is no excuses for 3 points, in my opinion. And I think Arsenal will do that. I think Arsenal will get 3 points. And we have to. I'm sorry, there's no, what do you reckon if we draw this one? I ain't talking about drawing or losing this game, mate. This is a 3 point game. We win our own games. We definitely do against teams that are below us. That's for sure. You know, I don't mind drawing Liverpool at home. If you drop points at City at home, you're not going to cry about it. If you lose to Forest or a Villa or a Fulham or a Brighton, we'll be pissed off about it because you can't do that when you want to win the league. You know what I'm saying?
And listen, when you look at Forest, how I look at this, like, yeah, they've got Ange in now, and I'll imagine it'd be quite liked by the players and all that. But this is a squad of players that's had a very, very good year under a manager. Really got on well with him and all that, like. And that when you're on a high, you don't expect your manager to be sacked. So they might be a little bit, he's done a lot for me, sort of thing, like. So, they're going to be not quite at the races because of that. You know what I mean? They're professionals, don't get me wrong, but there'll be a few players in that dressing room that won't be happy with that decision because Nuno's done a lot for them. Elliot Anderson for one, you know what I mean? Like, I think he was bigging him up before that, like, you know. So, listen, it's a good time to play Forest now, I think, more than anything. Like, one that Ange can't get his philosophy over straight away, so he's going to have to come in and just try and do what Nuno's done and all that. Like, well, he ain't, you know what I mean? Like, he ain't got that in his locker at this moment in time, so it's going to take him a couple of weeks. So, you know, he's got 4 days to work with these players, probably 3 days if you think, maybe even 2 days if a few of them are on international duty, don't come back after they've had their recovery day and all that. Like, you know, come on, you know what I mean? I'm not having that. If any of the Arteta cults going around and say, "Oh, it's the manager's bounce," I'm not having that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You know, get it. You just get the job done. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that we will. I think that well, I'll be not very happy if we don't, put it that way, like, you know what I mean? I don't see that this being a problem. I think that Arsenal are a very, very good team. We've got very, very good players, and we've got a manager that just needs to get him playing. Once he gets them playing, Dan, I think that, you know, we could, if he does, I think we're in for exciting times. If he goes away from that football, away from this possession-based football, if he was to go like gun-ho a little bit more, I think we're in for an exciting time. I think, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think many teams will be able to stop us because we've got firepower, we've got creativity, and we've got a good defence. We've got all the ingredients to become a really, really good side now. And I think he's just got to let it cook. Come on, Mikel, put the old temperature up a little bit.
Well, that's what we want to be seeing. I think that's, to be honest, that's what we want to be seeing for quite some time now, right? Is we want to be seeing him taking the shackles off, as they call it, because I think that's what's needed. Everybody wants to see that and believes that's what was needed with this side. I think the only problem with that is I haven't really seen that for quite some time. I haven't seen Arsenal go all out and put 4s and 5s past teams for quite some time, if I'm honest with you. But, you know, we'll have to see. Let's do these super chats before we come to team news before we close. Reese says, the Liverpool game Arteta was playing Marino just shows what Ødegaard's role is in the team. Keep possession and don't take any risks. Do you agree? I don't want to be seeing Marino in midfield. I want to be seeing... for me right now, if you asked me who should be playing in the attacking midfield role, it'd be the lad who scored yesterday for England under 21s, Ethan Nwaneri. Player of the match yesterday for England. I love Ethan. That's who I'll be playing. Because Ødegaard, for me, is not delivering in that role. Now, some people will say Eze, but I think he's needed on the left at the moment because Martinelli and Trossard, I don't even want to comment on either of those. So I think Eze, unfortunately, for those that don't believe he's a left winger, I think he can play on the left. I don't think he is a left winger, but I think he can play there. And I think he has to play at the moment for us. And I think Ethan's the one that I'm going with. What are you saying on that, Lee?
I'd go with Ødegaard. I think, you know, just because he's captain, and I think that he needs another opportunity. I felt that when he come on at Anfield, he was under orders to just not give away the ball, different role, whatever, like, you know. And I also think if you look at that, he brought on an Ødegaard before 1 year he was in front of him. So, but I'm with you, Dan. If he doesn't do it in this game, if you can't do it against Forest, you ain't going to be able to do it against Bilbao, and you ain't going to be able to do it against Man City. So this is a big game for Ødegaard to come in there and performing. If he doesn't do it, then I think there's got to be questions. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really do. He's not performed for a year now. Listen, he wasn't bad at Old Trafford. He weren't bad against Nottingham Forest, but we need to we want that Odegaard that we see a couple of seasons ago, like before injury when he was outstanding. So we need that Martin Odegaard. I cannot believe the drop off in Odegaard from that injury. I cannot believe. If you'd have said to me when he got injured, he's going to come back and be this poor for a year, I would never have believed you. I can't believe that he is this poor at this moment in time.
Do you think he deserves to keep playing? I don't. I think Ethan deserves to be playing ahead of Odegaard, my opinion. Until Ethan decides, well, we can't play Ethan, he's not good enough. We bring him back in. I understand he's the captain. I understand he's his favourite and his teacher's pet. I get all that. But that don't win you games, mate. Yeah, I like this player. I know he's not doing very well, but he's my favourite. He's our leader. He's our captain. I don't think Odegaard has been playing well enough for a long time to be deserved.
No, he hasn't. But I think that does help. You know what I mean? His pressing game, his work rate, and everything like that shouldn't be dismissed.
Okay, let me ask you this quickly then. How long are you giving him? 2 games? 5 games?
2 games.
2 games. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry if he doesn't come in and perform. You cannot continue to keep playing poorly, Dan, and be in a football team.
I agree.
Right? It doesn't matter who you are. You know what I mean? Like, and you're in the job to do certain things. If you're in there as a goalkeeper, you're there to make saves. You know, blah, blah, blah. If you're in there at midfield, you're in there to work hard, do all that, like Declan Rice. He is in there to create. You know, be the tip. And listen, he's done it fantastic. We know what he can do. That's the frustrating thing. If he'd have been signed this time last season and put in 18 months of that, we wouldn't be having him at the club no more. But the reason that there's a lot of, because we know what he can do. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to get to that level again, then there's a conversation. He's got to get to that level again, like, you know what I mean? So I'm look, listen, it's not like last season when you haven't got anybody there, Dan. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's saying, you know, drop Martinelli. Yeah, and rightly so. He's had a poor year. So has Odegaard. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be doing one without the other. So, and I don't care about captain's armbands or not. He has got to start performing, and it starts from Saturday at 12:30, because that's a game where you need your creative players to create. You need your creative players to perform, because you're going to be on the ball a lot more, and you're going to have to break teams down, and you're going to have to be brave in your play and make the right decisions and all that. Like, you know, I think his decision making, by the way, is scandalous at times. We should shoot when he should pass, and he passes when he should shoot. So he's got to get that right as well. But I'm giving him definitely 2 games. And listen, they've got to win those games as well, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, this
Forest
is
City, 2 home games. 2 home games, Forest and City. Got to play well in both. I'm with you. Barbar says, Dan, do you think that this is a good game for Martinelli, his pace and high line? Potentially, but I don't think he deserves to start. I don't think he does. It might be that he comes off from the bench. I think Eze is the one I'll be playing. Personally, I don't think that you can be looking at keeping Martinelli in this side at the moment, just like Odegaard. I don't think either of them deserve to be starting. And it's a good thing.
I agree. Martinelli doesn't deserve to start. Won't start because Mikel will say, "Oh, he's just come back from Brazil." You know what I mean? Like, blah 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 blah, and so he'll be on the bench for this one.
Interesting. Let me just put the team up, and then we'll do the last 2 super chats. Is this going to be the team, Lee? Obviously, with injuries to Saliba and Saka, I imagine those positions will be filled. Raya in goal, Timber, Mosquera, Gabriel, and Calafiori. With Saliba out, I imagine it will be Zubimendi, Rice, and Odegaard in midfield if everyone's fit. And then Madueke and Eze, I've got either side of Gyökeres. Is there anything there that you changed, bruv?
No, that is the exact team that I'll go with.
Is there anything that we might change? Because he never gets this right. Is Marino going to stay in midfield? Is he going to bring Trossard in. You know what I mean? There's always something.
I will be disappointed if that team doesn't start. Right, there could be a surprise with Saka playing or Saliba. Like, you know what I mean? Like, our Saliba's not fit for this game. He's you know what I mean? I hope the medical staff are going to be sacked because they're saying that he could play against Liverpool, and now he's out.
4 weeks out now.
So whoever made that decision that he could play, I hope it's not on the team bus again. Like, if he doesn't, if Saliba's fit, I think Saliba will be fit for this game. By the way, but I don't think that they'll take the risk.
I think I saw that he's going to be 3 or 4 weeks out, Saliba.
Well, how can he be 3 or 4 weeks out then, and on the day go, yeah, they're all right to play then?
Because they're crap, mate.
Well, that's a scandalous decision, then, isn't it? Don't you think?
Well, I said at the time. What the hell is he doing? Playing him. Whoever's decision that was, fitness team, Arteta, group discussion, the player, you can't blame. The player will say, play me, even if his leg's hanging off. He wants to play. You want that attitude of your players to always want to play. But it is, as I say in the chat there, Mickey says, it is a piss poor decision, group decision, individual decision to play him when he's come off of an ankle injury and warm up. You don't do that, bruv. You know that. Even when I played at a crap football level, nothing like you even. I played at half decent Sunday league level. If I felt something, the manager would say to me, come off. I don't go on then, keep playing. And that was Sunday league level. Like, what are we doing here?
I can understand it if you've done it and then, like, you can run it off and you're all right. But then
running off is different.
4 weeks afterwards, you know what I mean? Like, that's that. God, 4 weeks out. And you've looked at that and gone, yeah, you can make this game right. But I think it's, he better not be out for 4 weeks. I'm telling you that now, because I am going in on that manager and that medical staff, if that is the case, because I think that is such a scandalous decision. Fact. It really is. It's a disgrace of a decision.
It's an awful decision. Awful. If he's out for 4 weeks.
4 weeks, but you can play against Liverpool, like, you know what I mean, after you've just done it, like, you know what I mean, like, these are experts. They look at that and go, like, he looks like he could be out for 4 weeks, like, you know what I mean? No, he's all right. He's all right. Run him on there, like, you know what I mean? Like, but it's a ridiculous decision.
It's an awful decision, mate. Look, we'll come to some predictions later in the weeks. We're already on Tuesday. You've got some days before we play them. Mikel Arteta has said, trust the process, guys. I am the best manager. Big up to you, man. And there's 2 super chats coming at you, Lee. Where are we again? Richard, big up to you. Rich says, I put a super chat in the other day about Lee changing his opinion depending on channels. What I meant was, on this channel, he said, I do not believe Arteta is the guy. On AFTV, the day after, he said, I'm unsure. He's then said, big up Lee and big up this channel, though. I don't know what he means by that, Lee. I don't know what you've said on AFTV.
Well, I don't remember something like, I think if do I think that Mikel's going to win the league? I don't think that we're going to win the league. I you know what I mean? Like, that's my personal opinion. But I'm not 100% sure of that. I'm only just, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's 3 games in and all that, like, you know. I've got my doubts on the manager getting us over the line, but as I've always said, I don't think that that he's a bad manager. I don't, you know what I mean? But there's a difference between getting a manager that can get you to top 4 and challenge into a manager that gets you over the line. There's a difference. And at the end of the day, you know, yeah, I love that. You know what I mean? I am the biggest flip-flop because I do go on results and performances. Like what I see against Liverpool and Man United, to be fair, I don't see us as a title-winning team with on those 2 away performances. But that doesn't mean to say
I don't really understand flip-flop comments, if I'm honest, either, because I think everybody has done that, haven't they? I mean, like, that's what we do. We've just lost 3 games. You're not going to still believe. Just lost 6 games, still believe, and then he wins 3. Oh, actually, maybe he's all right. That's what football fans do.
Well, of course.
Is that supposed to be an insult? Flip flop? Is it? That's just That's just life, mate.
For me, I love me flip flops, like
I quite like flip flops as well. But I don't see that as an insult. Is my point. I don't really get when someone says to me, "I don't think this manager's good," and then a week later says, "I think he's the best thing ever." I could understand. You might say, "Crikey, where are you at, mate?" That's a bit bizarre. But if someone over 5 years has sort of proven that he's not quite right, I think that's given you enough evidence to sort of make a decision about him now, in my opinion. But there were times when I saw him win the FA Cup in the first few months, I thought, well, I didn't want this geezer, but he's obviously shown winning mentality straight away. He must have something about him. And then I saw enough to prove over a longer period of time, he ain't ready for us. He ain't going to win us anything. Now, that's where I've always been like that, whereas some people have gone, he's brilliant, he's crap. He's brilliant, he's crap. And then I'd understand more like, where's your head at, mate? I don't quite know what you want. Do you want this guy or not? I don't think you've done that. I think you've said, I think he's good to a certain level, but can he do that? I think that's where you're at. I don't think you've gone, he's great, he's crap. He's great, he's crap. I don't think you've done that.
No, and listen, the difference that we have is that we put ourselves over out there to be shot at. You know what I mean? That's part of the thing. Like, we've had people come up to us, certain people we know when Mikel was doing great and going, have you changed your mind yet? I told you he was good and all that, like. And they've gone quiet again, like, because their opinion isn't put out there like ours and all that, like, you know what I mean? And my opinion, the greatest thing that I can say about Mikel is the jury. I don't know. Our jury's out with me. I'm not convinced that he can get us over the line. I'm not unconvinced that he might not get us out. I don't know. I don't know. The facts of the matter over the last couple of seasons tells me that he ain't. Decisions against Aston Villa and Bayern Munich in that game there cost us. You can look back at January like this time around. I think, did Mikel cost us the Champions League this season? Last season, no. Did Thomas Partey for his decision for
suspension
did. Then Mikel had a decision to make about Declan Rice. He put him back into a role and put Mourinho back in there, and Trossard was the wrong decision. If he should have kept Mourinho up front. You just beaten Real Madrid with him up there. But because of that decision, that made him make a decision that he got it wrong, because the result proves it. He got it wrong. We lost the game over 2 legs. So, does an elite manager make another decision there and keep Mourinho up there and win the game? Who knows? One knows. My argument was don't take Declan Rice out. He was playing superbly well in that role. Mourinho was playing superbly in that role. And what you've done by taking Rice out, Mourinho out, you just done everything wrong. But listen, if it would have gone right, that's it. They're little decisions that I think that have cost us, and that's down to the manager. You know what I mean? I felt that we might lose the league by 2 points at the end of the season. That would be the decision of playing not to lose a game rather than. And I don't say that a game against Liverpool that Mikel went out there not to win the game. I don't believe that, but there's a difference. I think he went out there not to lose the game. There's a difference, you know what I mean? Because you can still set up not to lose a game and nick it. You know what I mean? And that was what the ideal situation to do, was to nick it 1-0, which Liverpool did. You know what I mean? If he does it, he's a genius. It's fine lines, Dan. You know what I mean? As we've always said, But at this moment in time, I if you said to me, put my house on Mikel getting us over the line in the Champions League or Premier League, I'd rather not.
Look, I actually agree with this super chat here. Lastly, after 6 years, it's maybe time to stop flip-flopping. I don't think that is pointed at you. I think that's just in general. I think by now you would have made your mind up. And I actually agree with that. People that are like, I'm still not sure about this Mikel Arteta. I think you either love him or you not sure about him, in terms of, I don't think he's good enough. And I'm that way. And I've been that way for what feels like forever. And it actually is surprising how quickly time does go.
One question when people say that. How many times have Arsenal been favourites to win the league over the last 4 years?
Well, we haven't been, I don't think.
Well, there you go. You know what I mean? Like Liverpool favourites to win the league this year, like with what they've got on firepower. So it's very, very, you know what I mean, to say that, you know, like coming second is probably where it's expected to. Like, you know, I think we was favourites last season, but I still think Man City were bookies favourites at the beginning of it. I felt last season was the season that he let himself down. I don't think the 2 seasons before.
Yeah, I think he's where he's let himself down. So I look at that a little bit differently with those two things, right? This is where me and you differ. So I agree he's not been the favourites to win, but I asked the question why he hasn't been. That's my question. Why have we not been favourites? Is it because the squad's absolutely abysmal and he can't get us anywhere really with it because it's awful? Or is it because he's not quite the guy to get it across? My question, okay, let me ask it separately. We've got Luis Enrique as the manager. Are we now favourites to win the league? I think we probably are, if I'm honest.
What, this season? No.
No?
No, I think, well, what Liverpool have done, they'd still be slight favourites.
Okay, last year then. I think we would have been. Yeah, so I think that's what we're getting at. Is it the manager who's not the reason that we're not favourites, or is it just, it doesn't matter who the manager is, we still aren't favourites because the squad just ain't good enough?
Look, listen, I think that I think Arsenal were favourites last season, and everybody's jumped around the bandwagon of injuries didn't help, and that's what didn't do it, and all that, like, you know. And maybe that they've got a case for that, but you still had a chance in January to do something about that, and they didn't.
See, like we've got Zafa says, no, it's the squad. So Arteta needs to go then. He spent 6 years.
No, because I do think the squad has been. We was let down with the squad last season. With what happened then. You can't say that this season.
No, that's what I'm getting at.
Like this season,
the squad is good enough to win the league and to win a trophy. This is what I kind of understand with some of the fans.
Liverpool won the league last season. Whether you think they're the best team or not, they won the league, and then they've gone out and spent £450 million. So they're going to be favourites. But that doesn't mean to say, look, Liverpool were third favourites last year and won the league. So I'm not saying that's because we're second favourites we shouldn't. No, like, you know what I mean. Not always the favourite wins. You know what I mean, like, so, you know, at the end of the day, the tennis this time around was Senna was, you know, favourite, beating him at Wimbledon. But, you know, the better player won at the end of the day. So, you know, the favourites don't always win, Dan. You've got to find a way. You've got to find a way.
What I'm getting at, I understand that. And favourites don't always win. Liverpool might be favourites and Arsenal win the league. Arsenal might be second favourites and Arsenal might win the league. But I'll tell you what we have to do is win something. It might not be favourites to win the league, but you can't have Glasner, Ange, Howe, Maresca and Slot all winning stuff going, who's this Mikel guy who can't win nothing? It's easy. What are we doing? 6 years, Christ. Get out. Get in the bin, man. Like, he has to win a fucking trophy this year, bruv. He has to.
Yeah, I'll say it, but I'll tell you what, if Arsenal win the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup and don't change for the league, people are not going to be happy with that, Dan. You know what I mean? Like, there's context of what winning a trophy is all about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, like, he's got to win one of the two big ones. He's got to win the league or the Champions League. I don't see him winning the league because I don't think that his philosophy and the way that he plays football is going to get us enough points. But
what do you think we'll win this year then?
I think I'll be honest. We've got the best chance we got is the Champions League, and because the way we set up in that, you know what I mean. I think that we've got a chance in that. I don't. Do you feel we might not win it, but like there's other teams that are as good as us in that. Like, you got to have a little bit of luck and all that. Like, but I think the way that he sets up over a cup competition of as you well know, the Champions League and the Champions League and is two different competitions. The first competition's the league, and then it's a knockout. It's two completely different. If we get through that competition, I think like the knockout, anything can happen in a knockout.
I agree with you. Out of the two, I don't think we're going to win either, right? But out of the two, I think we've got a chance to win the Champions League. If I said to you now, what do I think? I think the FA Cup's our best shout, or Carabao Cup. If he takes him seriously, though, if he takes him seriously.
FA Cup third round, you pull out Liverpool away.
Well, that's what we did last year.
Well, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, then you pull out we've got Man United at home last year, we've messed up. That's a different
You've got to beat him anyway.
You've got to have that little bit of luck, with the home draw and everything like that. When you go in the Champions League, if you play Liverpool in the Champions League, right, you play them home and away.
Yeah.
If you play them in the FA Cup, you could play them away, and that's it. So who's the advantage to?
Yeah, so I totally agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? When people go,
we've still got to play Liverpool in the FA Cup. Potentially, it could be in a semi or a final. Do you know what I mean?
But if you play them in a semi-final, it's on neutral ground or Wembley, and you play them at Wembley. Like, you know what I mean? What I'm saying is, you're going to play Liverpool. You rather have them at home. If you get, if you get them at home, it's a different scenario. What I'm saying is, you need a little bit of luck on the draw. You know what I mean? In the Champions League, the draw. You need a little bit of luck on the draw, but sometimes, you know what I mean, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, Dan, what you get is you get them home and away. So and I think that suits us a little bit more than like going away to Anfield and getting a result. That's all I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, look, I think he needs to take the domestic cup seriously this year. People will keep laughing at me. I'm getting a lot of abuse for it, to be fair, on my channel and other places. But if we win a trophy and we come second on the last day of the season, I think that's a successful season. People think that's out of order. Standards are in the gutter. Why the hell do you want a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup? We should have got that already by now. I'm sorry, like, I grew up on them trophies. I fucking love them. Yeah. So if you're going to tell me that we go on a day out of Wembley, we've come second the last day of the season to Liverpool, but we've won the FA Cup, I'm going to say fair play. We've installed winning mentality. We finally got the trophy across the line. Now he's got to go and win the major after that.
It's a stepping stone to go on to better things, Dan. It's a stepping stone to go on better things, winning mentality, like, you know what I mean? It's not standards and all that, like, you know what I mean? Come on, like, there's plenty of seasons like that teams don't go and win things. Yeah. You know what I mean? like, you've got to start somewhere.
Last season didn't win anything. Like,
you know what I mean? It's not about standards and where you are. You win things, and you build a dynasty by winning things. You know what I mean? Mourinho, whether you like him or don't, and I don't, but at the end of the day, he come along and said, like, I want to win that Carabao Cup. It gets you straight away winning mentality. And he's right. You know what I mean? Winning mentality. You had Arsene Wenger playing kids all the way through that. He come in there and said, no, I want to win that. And that gives us momentum going on to the next thing, Arsenal, like, get over the line in the Carabao Cup. It might not be the greatest thing, but what it does, it takes you to the next thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, you got two legs in the semi-final, like, you know what I mean? It might get you over the line, which we was pouring on. But that, if we'd have negotiated the Newcastle game really well, which, by the way, that's another poor show on Arteta, by the way, those two semi-finals against Newcastle. Win them ones. Who knows? You might have gone and won the two semi-finals against PSG. You don't know. What I'm saying is, I'm worried about that. It's about building and building and building, like, you know what I mean? And listen, when people go back to the League Cup, I've had two of the most fantastic days of my life following Arsenal in the League Cup. So I'm not down that road. I believe that he has got to win something this season. I'm saying there's no excuses, but what I'm saying is you need a little bit of luck along the line. I don't think in the league. I think that it evens itself out. You've got to be the best team and all that. Like, what I'm saying is, not the best teams win the cup competitions. Were Crystal Palace the best team in the league last season? No. Were Newcastle the best team in the league last season? No, but they won cups. Were Tottenham the best team in Europe last season? No, but they won a cup. You need a little bit of luck to win the cups. What I'm saying is, you don't have to be the best team in Europe to win the Champions League. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think we've got a chance. I don't think we're the best team in the league, and I don't think that we're going to win the league, because I think that over 38 games we get found out, right? But in the league, we can get in the Champions League, in a cup competition, we can get away with it.
Fair play. Richard says you should become favourites to win the Premier League or the Champions League when you bin off every other competition to focus on them. Last year, we binned off the Premier League for the Champions League. I actually agree with that. And I do think Mikel Arteta, every season, has had one trophy to concentrate on. We've got four that we need to concentrate on.
That can't happen no more, Dan, with the squad we've got and all that. Like, you know, it can't happen.
I agree.
Listen, it can happen because it's happened to Man United losing to Grimsby. Man United have only got 3 competitions, and they rest players. or don't play certain players and like, you know what I mean, blah, 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 they go out of the competition. So that's down on them. Arsenal cannot afford to do that. You know, when they go to Port Vale, yes, we're going to rest players, but we still expect us to go through. And if we don't, there's problems with the manager again, like, you know what I mean? So listen, every game that Arsenal play this season, whether it be cup or league, is massive. And that is important to the squad as well. The whole squad's got to be performing that, like, you know what I mean? And that's what we've got this squad for now. Like, I do think we've got the best squad in the league on paper. I think that Liverpool probably got the best 11, but I think we've got the strongest squad, Dan. So it's got to be used and used properly.
That was my point. That was my point when I said, you know, are we favourites? We're not favourites. If we've got the strongest squad, we should be the favourites because we should be able to go and win it, and we're not, because I don't think the manager's good enough. That's just me.
No one's gonna argue with you and fight you over it, because at the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding at this moment in time. You know what I mean? Like, you can't keep saying, you know what I mean? Like, Dan, if you keep banging on the door, sometime you've got to go through that door. If you don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, you're banging on the door, you've got to go through it. And that's where we are with him now. Like, he's got to go through the door.
I think we're all on the same. Well, I don't think we are actually all on the same wavelength, but I think the majority of fans are on the same wavelength. That if he doesn't win anything this season, it is goodbye time. But just lastly, would you keep him, like me, if we won the FA Cup and we take Liverpool to the last game and we lose to him?
Yes.
You'd keep him. I would. Yeah, I would. And I don't particularly like the bloke, but, you know, I think he's good enough. But if he wins us something, I'm saying keep him, because it's been a successful season.
If Arsenal win the FA Cup and they're fifth in the league, no.
Facts. Exactly the same as me then. We're on the same wavelength. David says the problem is the manager. He's out of his depth now. I agree with that. And it's for him to prove me wrong. And believe
100%. 100%. He's got to prove himself.
There's a Champions League. There's a Premier League. There's an FA Cup. Whatever it be, if you were lifted, people say to me, we had a successful season. I'll have you. What did you win? Oh, we didn't win anything. Come third. That's not a successful season then, is it? You've done well. If you're supposed to come 8th and you actually come 3rd, well done. But it's not successful, is it? Success is that. If you see you lifting silverware, that is a successful season. Otherwise, yeah, well done. You come. Where are you now? Well, we're all on 0 points again. That's not successful then, is it? Like, I just don't get it personally. That for me is not successful. If you come 5th and you get Champions League.
Well, right, so like 5th gets your Champions League then, right? Like, well, 6th then. Listen, like, I'm not being horrible.
I can't stand it all.
Arsene Wenger won the FA Cup and everybody still wanted him sacked.
Sacked, yeah. Because we weren't competing for the league alongside the FA Cup.
Competing for the league, right? So the fact of the matter is, if Arsenal are not competing for the league, but they win the FA Cup, that's not good enough. If they win the FA Cup and have competed for the league, I'm all right with that. You know what I mean? If we challenge for the title, you know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, there's no God-given right you should win the title. But if you're winning trophy, if you're winning an FA Cup or a League Cup and you're banging on the door and you're not quite there, then that's fine. But I still say eventually, like, you know, listen, going back years ago, Ron Atkinson was manager of Man United, winning FA Cups and all that, League Cups and all that. In the end, got the sack because he couldn't deliver what they wanted. And that was the league, right? So there comes a time when that won't be good enough for either, Dan. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
That's the facts. But you've got to start somewhere, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all right, everybody keeps saying, oh, like, can't get rid of me, got to get rid of Mikel, we can't win nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Win something, you know, all right, the goal pace change a little bit, do they? I think he's got to win something in the context of it all, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's no good us winning the FA Cup because we're concentrating on winning on the FA Cup because we've gone out of the Champions League and we're halfway down the table in the league. Because let's face it, if we don't beat Nottingham Forest and Man City in the next 2 games, we're going to be like 6-9 points behind Liverpool. Title already over. So Liverpool have Burnley at home away this week and Everton at home is their next 2 games, right? We've got Forest at home and Man City at home. We have to win those 2 games because they're winning their 2 games. And the fact of the matter, if we actually beat Man City next week, Liverpool will be 9 points probably in front of Manchester City. Game over for them already. Right? Why put like I had someone turn around, I don't know, I can't remember who it was, saying, why isn't there so much heat on Manchester City at the moment? Like, you know what I mean? And why ask? They've won the title the last 4 years or 3 or 4. You know what I mean? Like, what a stupid question. Of course, there's going to be more heat on Arsenal than anybody else at this moment. So Liverpool, Man City ain't going to get no heat from me this season if they don't do well. They've won the title, like, you know what I mean? Like, it would be 2 years without it, like, you know what I mean? Like, then there's going to be questions asked if they go another season without winning anything. But Christ, why are people not getting on Pep's back at the moment? Because he's a winner. He's won things. You know, come on.
I
Get
agree.
in the reality of it. Get in the reality of it. Like, Arsenal are going to be scrutinised until they win something, Dan. Simple as that. Simple as that.
Facts. Last super chat before we close from NS Spurs fan. He says, I know it's an Arsenal channel, but what is your opinion on Daniel Levy leaving Spurs? Lee, you have seen 3 or 4 chairmen at Spurs, Alan Sugar, etc. I'll come in quick on that. Apparently, Vinay Venkatesha, who we know very well, has said that Spurs are not for sale and that Levy will just be replaced. So I'm not so worried, if I'm honest, because I do think that Spurs will be Spursy with this ownership. I think Daniel Levy's done a lot of good for Tottenham, but he's also done a hell of a lot of bad for them. And I don't think he had the ambition to take them to the next level. I think their ambition was get top 4 and make it into a tourist attraction. I'll say this, taking my Arsenal hat off, I think from an owner's perspective, I think it's a very attractive club to go and take over. They've got everything. They've got the fan base. They've got the global fan base. They've got the stadium. They've got all the tourist stuff. They've got all the money. They're a Champions League club. They're a big Premier League club. It is a fantastic opportunity for a billionaire owner. And I hope that does not happen. But for right now, Levy leaving, I don't think it will be a massive, massive change at the moment, depending on who comes in. But that's just my opinion. What do you think, Judge?
Well, Spurs fans now saying that they'll be winning things, winning titles now that he's gone and all that. Like, you know, there was never winning titles when he wasn't before he was there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I've never seen Spurs win a title in my life. Right? I've seen them come very, very close to it. Right? Yeah, under Daniel Levy's reign. I've never seen it under any other reign. I've seen them get to a Champions League final. They were never even competing in the Champions League or the European Cup in my lifetime. They nearly won it under Daniel Levy's reign. You know what I mean? Like, they've never been serial winners in any of my lifetime. But here they are, competing top four most of the time. So at the end of the day, Spurs fans got short memories. The delusional pills have popped, fizz in the water, and the reality will sink in that it's not Daniel Levy, it's Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Fair play. Fair play. Couldn't have said it better. I must admit, it's funny watching some of the Spurs fans' reactions to this.
They all believe that they should be winning the league and all that. Like, they've never won the league in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing. It is bizarre. But, yeah, look, I think that Tottenham will always be a little bit Spursy. And they won the Europa League. But the way they won it is a Spursy way, to be honest with you, where no bugger was in it, let's be honest. So, yeah, look, well done.
They still had to win it, and they did.
Cool.
You know
to win what's in front of them, but crikey. But yeah. It was poor, wasn't it? So, look, I don't think it will change too much. If they brought in a billionaire owner and they went and got hired Luis Enrique, maybe I'd be a bit more worried. So, there we go. Anyway, look, we're out of here, people. I'm back tonight at 9 p.m. on my channel. If you fancy watching me instead of England or as well as England in the background, then please come and jump over to Football's 12th Man. And Lee, I'll let you have the last word, mate.
Yeah, have a great day. My advice is go and watch Dan tonight instead of England. Don't waste your time. You know what I mean? There you go. And have a fantastic day. mate.